Missouri School Board votes to remove Black History classes. The all-white school board voted 5-2 to stop offering Black History and Literature courses. What's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name's Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, filming this video live from Budapest, Hungary. On my channel, sporadically this year, I've been talking about the constant attacks on Black history being taught in America's public schools because the conservatives, mostly Republicans, want to stop the next generation from learning true American history so we can have reform and a racial reckoning in America. I'm going to go to the map because unfortunately or fortunately, I have an international audience that does not know basic geography sometimes. So let's go to where Missouri is. This is the United States of America. Missouri is this very large state. Some consider it in the South, some consider it in the Midwest. It has two very large cities. One is St. Louis, being on the east side of the state. The other is Kansas City on the other side of the state. It's a somewhat diverse place, but let's break down the racial demographics of this state in the Union. It is right now about 82% white and 11% black, but Kansas City and St. Louis are very black cities. So let's jump into this story. This was written by Sebastian Murdoch, published on December 23rd, 2023 for the Huffington Post. A Missouri school board that previously voted to rescind an anti-discrimination resolution has voted in favor of removing elective Black history and literature classes. So they were coming together to do something bad and decided to do something even more bad. See, this is what happens when the white supremacists are left alone. When people are left to their own devices, they're not only going to be hostile to Black life and Black expression and Black history, they're going to go above and beyond to make it harder for people to access it. The 7-member Francis Howell School Board voted 5-2 Thursday night to stop offering Black history and Black literature courses, which have been offered at the district's 3 high schools since 2021, KSDK reported. All 7 members of the board are white. This is why it's important for our people to be involved in the school board, involved in civic government, involved in local politics, because these things are happening in our children's school. Now, I've said this before in my previous videos, but I'll say it again. All the stuff that they're doing to stop Black history from being taught, number one, it's not effective because number one, in history classes in the U.S., they're barely teaching anyway. In Louisiana, history class was taught by my PE coach who would just show up and put on The Patriot like 3 times a week. So I know that movie front and back. Mel Gibson is actually one of my top 10 favorite actors just because of that. But yeah, unfortunately, in public schools, they're not even teaching basic American history. People don't even know who, Frederick Douglass is, or who the 3rd president of the U.S. is, and that sort of stuff, when the Revolutionary War started. So a lot of history isn't even being taught in U.S. schools. But this makes people want to learn Black American history even more. And people are going to places like my YouTube channel, other YouTube channels, other places online to get history. There's been a resurgence of interest in Black history because of the constant attacks. The conservatives don't learn. They tried to do this with music. They said, let's try to ban rock and roll. And rock and roll became like the biggest genre ever. Let's try to ban rap music in video games. And now everybody plays video games while they're listening to rap music while streaming and stuff like that. So every time the conservatives, reactionaries try to do something, it just backfires and it becomes more popular. But yet and still, it is very frightening and threatening because the white supremacists know no limits. They will go to no bounds to make sure what they want to inflict on the world will happen. So our students really wanted these electives. Harry Harris, whose son is a student in the district, said during the board meeting, our families really wanted them and our teachers really wanted them. It's important. It's been great. In July, the conservative-led board revoked an anti-racism resolution that had been passed in 2020 following the police killing of George Floyd. The resolution, which made a pledge to speak firmly against any racism, discrimination, and senseless violence against people regardless of race, ethnicity, nationality, immigration status, religion, sexual orientation, gender, identity, or ability, was removed from school buildings. That's absolutely a shame. See, that goes to show all that, black square boxes in people's profile screens, all the hashtag Black Lives Lives Matter. Our movement is not a fad, and we shouldn't try to make fadify or trendify our movements or our struggles, because what we are doing, what we are advocating for, is systemic change in America, not for people to do hashtag Black Lives Matter in 2020 and then 3 years later for them to say, well, racism is over. Wasn't that jolly and swell? We got rid of racism very quickly. No, the fight is still not over. We still have brothers getting shot by the police and the police getting away with it. We still have women getting shot by the police when they call 911 for help against domestic violence. That's a story I'm covering on my channel today too. We are seeing global anti-blackness with the genocide that is happening in Sudan. There is a lot happening in black life and in the black world right now that shows that the fight against anti-blackness and racism and discrimination is still ongoing. So we are not going to be dissuaded by a few white people in some small town who just wanted to get rid of what they viewed as critical race theory or whatever. But we're going to continue this fight, continue this struggle, and continue to educate our people. Let's go. Both the resolution and the classes were targeted by 5 new members of the board who have all received the backing of the Conservative Political Action Committee, Francis Howell families, according to the Associated Press. On its website, the Francis Howell Families PAC lists issues it's concerned about, including critical race theory and obscene books in your child's library. Let's talk about this. First and foremost, critical race theory is not being taught in any public schools. It is only taught at graduate level university courses. And even then, people then don't even grasp the idea. It's an elite field. It's a very highfalutin field, and it is not being taught in the schools. Not even tangential ideas from it are being taught in the schools. Nobody is being taught to feel ashamed because they're white. Nobody's taught to feel ashamed because they're black. Nobody's taught to hate on their ancestors. Nobody's taught to hate America through critical race theory, from my small grasp of the theory and that sort of thing. What it does teach is that America's history of anti-black racism has bled through into its institutions today, and that needs to be analyzed and hopefully changed. That's the essentials of critical race theory. And it's a theory. It is meant to be debated. It's not meant to be banned. I thought this was America, where freedom of expression reigned supreme, where we were better than the evil communists or the fascist totalitarian Nazis and that sort of stuff. No, in America, what we have to do is ban ideas we don't like. Sounds like liberty to me. During the board, members of the community, including resident Tom Ferry, spoke up to express their disagreement with the board's decision. Tapping into a diverse talent pipeline would be a great way to slow attrition. But what diverse staff wants to work in a district waging culture wars? Ferry asked. The stakes have never been higher. As the 2024 presidential race heats up, the very foundations of our democracy are at stake. A vibrant democracy is impossible without well-informed citizens. This is why HuffPost journalism is free for everyone, not just those who can afford expensive paywalls. So shout out to HuffPost for doing this, but I don't like that the HuffPost fired a lot of their writers and then got AI bots. I might have just read something that ChatGPT spat out after reading this article from AP or Reuters or whatever, but the fact still remains that this is happening in many parts of the country, and it needs to be stopped. We need to protect Black history, and we need to prevent people becoming radicalized, because when you make something unmainstream, when you take something out of the public square and then it goes into the dark recesses of the internet or in people's living rooms where they're talking amongst, people who might be more radical, people can become, how can I say, radicalized. And that is happening. I'm telling y'all will not see the effects now, but 5-10 years from now, if they continue to assault Black history and make it harder for people to access this information, and then they get it on YouTube from people who are, less moderate than me, you might see some very radical people. You might see the Black Panthers come back. You might see, some of those radical groups we had in the 70s that were doing a lot of radical stuff. You might see that resurgence if you continue to assault Black history. Put it in the public square. Let's read the books. Let's find out about what happened in the past. Let's not make it something that we push away and hide. My name's Simon Hill. Thanks for watching this video. Peace.